The city of Buffalo is a very proud town. We've come from a Rust Belt past and emerged as a growing tech hub and thriving biomedical corridor. On the one hand, we're in the midst of a long-awaited renaissance, and our city has some of the largest, longest-running, well-attended Juneteenth and similar cultural celebrations in the entire United States. On the other hand, a section of Buffalo has an entrenched poverty issue, the East Side, and which is predominantly Black and African American. East Buffalo is where a heated debate is now raging over the imposition and injustice of a so-called cap and stitch transportation proposal. It's concerning a state DOT project, the New York Route 33 Kensington Expressway, the 1950s-era highway at the center of a massive $1 billion preservation initiative, supposedly concerned with reconnecting communities. What the Kensington Project will preserve is an antiquated, unwanted, unwelcome federal aid highway at all costs. The Kensington was and is an infrastructural barrier at least 20 years past the end of its project life cycle. Its overhead walk bridges were only supposed to last 40 years. The present-day Kensington Project is steeped in controversy over a perceived lack of community engagement tied to reality that, much like its forerunner from the 1950s, today's project was announced in conjunction with a dictated agenda, the cap and stitch. This proposed outcome is overwhelmingly opposed by a significant percentage of Buffalo's East Side neighbors. We prefer Humboldt Parkway's tree-lined canopy restored and its neighborhoods reconnected together again. We desire the Parkways and MLK Park's connectivity to Delaware Park repaired. We wish the Kensington Expressway removed. We'd like it remediated. There is much room for justice to be enacted here. Such demands reflect a holistic community redevelopment and environmental justice approach, unlike New York State DOTs. Our community also deserves a comprehensive environmental impact statement and a beneficial community benefit agreement. We are meeting and hearing from a number of our impacted East Side community neighbors in hope amplification of our stories, as told in our own words, will furnish a supportive documentation of the Kensington Project's underexplored effects, and so too, East Side residents' long-term and underreported trauma may finally be acknowledged. If you could say anything to the New York State Department of Transportation, and if they wanted to hear anything at all about how you feel about the Kensington Expressway project, what would you say?
My opinion, my personal opinion, and if I had to say so in it, and if my word meant anything to them, I would tell them, if you're going to do something, come on, bring it back to its natural beauty. You got to fill it all the way in the way it was.
So you're not believing this park that they say is going to be atop of the tunnel, atop that concrete deck. You don't believe that park is ever going to look anything like the pictures that the community is being shown.
Trees got roots. Mm-hmm. You know, we had trees there. We had no little trees. We had trees. Like you see going down the side street, you had trees like that there.
You had 50-foot, 60-foot trees.
Well, they might have, I was little then, so I was sure everything looked 50 feet to me back then. But no, we had good trees. You know, you had
nice sized trees.
We had trees. You didn't have like the little ones that was planted. You had a couple of spots you had fruit trees.
There were 50 and 60 foot.
Taller than the houses. Most of the houses.
The trees, exactly.
Most of the houses over there is 40 feet.
The trees were taller than the houses over there.
We had trees.
What do you think should be done about the fact that some residents, numerous residents in fact, who live on Humboldt Parkway have complained that they have loved one relatives in their families whose health has suffered and has been damaged by the Kensington Expressway? What do you think should be done in those cases where persons claim that they have family members and their own health that's been harmed by the Kensington Expressway? What should be done?
Well, we all know what should be done, but
what should be done?
They should be compensated. But we know that ain't gonna happen because this is the United States of America.
In your own words, what would you say In response to the question and talking directly to New York State Department of Transportation, what do you want done to the Kensington Expressway and in the Kensington Expressway project, and why do you want it?
I would say to them to listen to the people in the community that's going to be adversely affected by this. And I would like for you to consider the filling in of the parkway to get it back to what it used to be and how beautiful it used to be. And it was just like some of the other streets over in Bidwell, grass, trees, and a place where people can go and picnic. You didn't have to go to the parks, like Humboldt Park, Chestnut Ridge, Beaver Island, and all that kind of stuff. You can walking distance, you can go right up to the park and just enjoy yourself, the holidays, to have a picnic. So I would like for the people to realize how that truly affect the people in this community, especially the people on Humboldt Parkway. And again, I haven't been following this, so I was really hesitant to get out and talk until I talked to someone. They said, "No, go there and share that." So I want to say that I'm still sad and still, feeling a certain way about how that was done, and we didn't have any real input back in the day. And it seems like history repeats itself. They're going to do what they want to do. Like I said, I know how the game works. I'm retired from the State Department of Transportation. They go out and do some phony surveys and make it look good, and we buy it. We're not looking at some of the other aspects that's going to be happening as a result of us allowing them to do that. So we have a chance to stop it. And I think that we should stop it and look at bringing it back to its original, like the Bidwell Park is, like Phil and Nan.
I'm totally against the New York State Department of Transportation's proposal. I feel that they did not evaluate all of the options fully that were on the table, and and because they have not fully evaluated all of the options, this cap and stitch is a Band-Aid solution to a 60, 70-year-old problem that's not going to go away. This 33 has lived its life expectancy, and the retaining walls are already showing signs of the rebar showing through. And so there has to be something done. So I would be in favor of the park being restored to its beauty and glory. Olmsted Parks, the designer of the original park, when it was Martin Luther King Park and Humboldt Parkway and Delaware Park combined as one park, the goal was to connect communities and connect people. Well before his time as a designer, he understood urban design. And so, as an urban planner myself and studying his works, I clearly understand what his vision was and what the intention was. It was never to divide and conquer and reduce communities to not be able to communicate with each other. I mean, when I lived on Humboldt Parkway, the neighbors across the road were way on the other side of Humboldt Parkway, on the other side of the 198 section where I lived, between Oak Grove and East Delavan. I never knew them. I still don't know them, after all those years. Why? Because we were disconnected. That's a disconnect. That's deliberate disconnect. And that's not what community life is. It's supposed to be a walk, community that allows for you to work, play, and eat, and have commerciality strips on your radio streets that supports reinvestment financially for not just the districts, but just the community themselves. So reconnect communities cannot happen with this cap and stitch. If they put this in, there's no phase 2 or 3. You'll never ever reconnect the parks if they allow this.
What would you say to those persons who say people who live outside of East Buffalo or the east side of Buffalo, or who are not Black, ought not have an opinion about the Kensington Expressway project?
I think they should have an opinion about the Kensington project because the ones that I've spoke to or have had conversations with understand the disconnect of community and the devastation that this has caused the African American community on the east side of Buffalo. And so their voice is parallel to my voice in wanting a restoration of the park and reconnecting communities.
Somewhere we must come to see that human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals who are willing to be co-workers with God.